Hi, welcome to Scenic Moho, home of rocks, I guess. There's a few of them here. Scroll in, there's some rocks. That's a nice bit of it. Even more of like a basalt column of some kind. I don't know, we can't really do any detailed science. All we got here is this one small ship with no fuel. But let me tell you, it was a big accomplishment to get it here. And now we will continue with more accomplishments, hopefully. With our successful launch to Moho and landing, as well as the dress one preceding it, we have officially completed the redemption arc storyline. And we can now move on to new projects and things that we have actually never attempted before. Let's return to the Space Center and see what we can do. Well, I say that, but our next step is pretty darn obvious. We know what we need to do next. We need to go to Jewel. And going to Jewel is going to be a little complicated. We need to get not just us there, but a reasonable amount of infrastructure. Because we gotta make sure we can actually control the vessel. Granted, we could control the solar bungle, the polar... Yeah, the polar bungle. And I'm just gonna check that real quick. But ultimately, we are probably going to need to put a switch yard in orbit. Let me just find the polar bungle real quick in my giant list of all satellites ever. There's the polar bungle. See how it's doing. Because most of our interplanetary network of infrastructure is mostly out to Duna. And even then, everything goes back to Kerbin eventually. As you can see here, the polar bungle has no probe control. Also, in terms of where we are right now, looks like we're flat on with the rest of the solar system, so that's not a good sign. You would expect this to be a point where we would have connection. This means ultimately that despite my desires to send like the grand expedition to Jewel in one fell swoop, it seems very likely we are going to have to split it into two missions. One, to send a relay satellite there powerful enough to actually receive reliable communications from Kerbin, and then the swarm of survey drones for each of the moons. That is annoying, but I mean, it's just sort of what has to happen, all right? In terms of actually getting to Jewel, I don't think it'll be that bad. Yes, it's really far away, but I don't think it's all that eccentric, and Jewel itself is huge. The SOI is massive. And the distances involved, I think, means that it won't be that big of an issue to just, like, have it. Like, all of our measurements of, like, angle relative to it for phase and stuff should be pretty accurate, if only because the distances are so large that eccentricity doesn't really play a factor. Or even, like, just local parallax. So my plan is to take the Akira and just, like, slap 80 million satellite dishes to it. Like so. And yeah, there's no other plan. That's the plan. You witnessed it. Welcome to the plan. Hope you enjoyed your stay. This will get us a vessel that is of comparable signal fidelity to the switch yard, but on a frame that's much more adaptable. And as for the ship itself, we no longer want this extra upper stage. This technically means that the ultimate ship we're making here is going to be less capable than the Akira itself, but this is the utility ship. Of course it's going to be less capable than the Akira itself. That's just kind of an unavoidable fact of the matter. Why are you no longer connecting? Are you upside down now? Nope, I'm just incorrect. Yeah, so all like minor forward landing capability stuff, that's going out the window. We need just a pure, really long distance, general functioning, big relay. I think the Akira is our new, most competent, like, launch platform for that kind of thing. So let's just redo this fairing, delete fairing, build fairing. Needs to be a little wider. Actually, it needs to be a lot wider. Congratulations, I'm now the proud owner of a brand new worry about the situation. This thing is really not going to want to be aerodynamic. So let's make sure that we install the things we need to make this ship functional. Let's get that on. Maybe we should reconsider this. I do kind of want all that fuel. Let's switch to vacuum mode for a second. Yeah, it doesn't calculate it well with all of the stuff on. It doesn't know to. 6 kilometer. We could try and get a delta V estimate. But the fact that the polar bungle is able to go into a polar orbit around everything suggests that we can at least circularize to a lower orbit compared to it. Of course, put another satellite up here. We could also make sure that we still have science capabilities. Looking for an opening. Magnetometer booms can go side on there. Then we can get our normal suite of scientific instruments like the thermometer. Put these on 2 times symmetry, please. Barometer. Seismometer. And gravioleometer. Okay, from here, next thing we probably need is some electric storage. Let's just take one of these ZK1s, use that as a nice basis. RPGs can roll out like that, and that should be us in terms of 1,000 versus 400 each. We have 4 of them. Oh, there's a wider one. Excellent. Take that instead. That on, put the RTGs on as almost like structural supports. Good. This should be sufficient. This should do the job. You know, if we can get it to orbit, and that's the next concern. And I'm going to solve that concern by doing something I said I wanted to do in the last stream once we launched the Akira to Moho, and that's to extend this stage. As long as we got the thrust to weight ratio for it at the start of everything. 1.6. That's comparable to the Saturn V, if I recall correctly. That was like, what, 1.5? That's how it's always approximated. So that should be enough. It might be enough to counterbalance all of the satellite dishes that we've added, I think it should be okay. We're going to call this the... I mean, it's a variant of the switchyard built off the Akira frame. Let's call this AWACS. Kind of playing that service. It'll be the satellite that then controls the possible squadron of drones that will then survey all the planets. Kind of works in a sort of like Ace Combat-y kind of way if you think about it. I just realized that the top of the fairing is too low. There we are. Get this out of here. And now we have something reasonably effective. Just check all of our staging again. That stages and that stages. That's good. This is staging that. And these are the pyrotechnics. Excellent. Okay, so. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're going to Jewel. We're trying to go to Jewel. Thought I pressed the launch button already. This might take a long time, but there's a part of me that is really, really optimistic that Jewel's eccentricity is functionally nil. I know it's not actually nil, probably, but I think it's close enough to nil that we get the phase angle orbit correct. We just coast ourselves into it. And naturally, we also have to figure out its real semi-major axis, so there's a lot we gotta do. But it all starts with this. In 3, 2, 1, launch. Hopefully we get to a point where the SRBs can take over again. We may want to invent a new orbital launch platform. I know this one is already pretty heavy duty, but if we can go heavier, or we can invent like orbital construction, then we'll be able to advance ourselves to like greater tech. Okay, separation confirmed. How we doing? We're rolling over, we're rolling over. Roll back, roll back, roll back, roll back. Okay, hold stable. This is definitely a bit more unwieldy. Eventually we'll be high enough I can ditch the bearing, and that bearing is adding some mass to the equation. I think I'm going to wait till 2100. Okay. fire off the bottom edge. That's not too big a concern. Uh-oh. Just looked at our apoapsis. It's where we currently are. Turns out our ultimate orbit was too shallow. Which means I'm going to have to do this awkward thing where I, like, accelerate through the atmosphere up. Probably point prograde for this, just for aerodynamics. Not one of my better orbit. Not one of my better orbit. It's not enough. I'm going to 2,500. That should be enough. This might be like some silly overkill, but we're kind of in a bad spot right now. This launch is slowly turning into a problem at the first hurdle. Large, blunt payload combined with a new, untested boosting stage. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. At least now we should have just, like, muscled through it. I can't see the ship that well, because, you know, it's dark. So, I'm just going to try and... We're in space now, so I'm going to jettison the fairings. That's giving us a little bit of a boost. Hey, you can see it going. Okay, next step is the steps that we're familiar with. Oh, we have definitely over-muscled this orbit. Ooh, that's a bad orbit. Oh no. I may have panicked a bit too hard. Well, if anything, this will help us with our margins. What is the math to do? We are currently at 290. In fact, maybe we just do our whole launch ordeal here. Go to the escape calculator. Current altitude is just about 290,000. Carbon escape velocity would be 2,800. Let's paste that in here. Excess velocity going from Kerbin to Joule. Oh, I'm on the wrong side of the planet, my bad. Okay, we are going to have to circularize. Or are we? If we can just elevate the other side and then launch from there. We might have a bad angle, but it's better than nothing. Better than circularizing this. So 290,000. Target, let's say 80,000. Target velocity is 1853.1. Let's just burn the RCS. Once we leave Kerbin, we'll have plenty of time to spin slowly as long as we're patient. May as well just get that hurdle out of the way now. Our velocity is 1853.1. We are very close to it already. It's a quick matter of boosting. I'm changing our moment of inertia to spin better. Because I'm vaguely aware of the physics of how this works. Okay. 1853.1. Okay, that'll have to do. And then, in prep for the maneuver we're going to have to do, let's turn ourselves around now. Because that'll vaguely approximate prograde on the other side. So, now we'll go fly to Jewel. As soon as we get down to periapsis. Switch ourselves over to prograde and get ready. Looking at the numbers here, this is only slightly more than it took to get to Moho, which is nice. But the numbers are in. Target velocity is 4214.56. 4212.56, sorry. I might have said 4214. I don't remember if I did, but it felt like something that I might have just did. Not the point. The point is we go. We're not going to have the velocity for this, and that's going to be an issue, but we'll get close. We'll have like 400 more delta V to apply once we exit this. And the camera just rotated. I can tell by the engine exhaust we are probably at escape velocity now. Proceed immediately. The longer this takes, the less accurate it's going to be. So I think we're going to have to take another hit to the fuel reserves just to make this more accurate and precise. And to do that, I'm going to cut the thrust here, and we'll just manually make our velocity the desired excess velocity upon leaving the SOI. Which is to say, we'll just go up to like, I don't know, 40, 50 million meters, and then just thrust until our velocity is the desired excess velocity, which was about 2,700. Yeah, so we're at about 78 million. Let's just thrust until we're at 2716, and we'll say that that's a pretty good approximation. A bit far. Hopefully we slow down a little bit. We did not, but it's okay. We're basically on the right path. So, as we sort of drift through space here, what is our expectation here? We have an approximate Joule semi-major axis of about 69 billion, which is interesting. we get to about 69 billion, we'll start doing phase alignments immediately. Dresses, for reference, was about 40 billion. So we haven't reached Dress yet, but we're about to, in terms of distance involved. I wonder if Dress is near us. Doesn't look like it's behind us. We're at about the same altitude now. Another thing we should be looking out for is now that we're at Dress distance, we got to look at our signal strength. It is still pretty high, but it is degrading. Seems like I'm seeing a lot of Kerbin switchyard in there. I see maybe the Duna switchyard as well. The fact that it's holding up so well is a good sign. If we get to basically 70 million and it's still really strong, then I'll be pretty confident that we have made a suitable dual radar system. Actually, I just realized there's a concern that if we're trying to align with Duna, like we go onto an orbit and Duna's far away from the phase, we might not have control simply because Joule is too far away. I think I've accidentally been saying Duna part some of these sentences. Oh well. I don't need to know the names of the celestial bodies. I just need to know their, like, mass and radii and stuff. Okay. Signal is still good. A lot of switchyard Kerbin. Slow down just so I can read some of these. That's the switchyard. The Orbungle scope is actually doing some relay work. Smart Cleaner. KO3, those are the geostationary ones. It seems like we have good signal strength, just direct KSC. And the relays are just sort of acting as, like, redirections. Botanist is in there. Your Kerbin. This has turned into just a detour. I guess whether it bounces through the Duna relay is going to be a matter of if there's any need to. Like, if it just so happens that Duna is closer at the time. Actually, I think there oh, that was a lot more than usual. Botanist, Switchyard Kerbin, KSC Direct. So it seems like the only times where we would need to do a bounce is, well, when KSC is in, I guess, daytime, or just facing away from us. Oh, Switchyard Duna. Interesting. KSC FE19 switchyard to Duna switchyard to us. That's cool. Okay, let's gawking at the radar. Let's actually go to our desired orbit. Well, I think if we make a sort of mothership and we just have like a bunch of non-relay antennas ready to go, I think that would be sufficient. Plus, we don't need fine-tune control, we just need control. And actually, I guess any orbit that goes to this altitude is... Okay, so we've made it to apoapsis. It's a little low. I attribute that to our poor angle. It is at this point that we need to do our great phase alignment. I'm forgetting steps. We need to find Jewel. There's Jewel. There's Jewel. Okay, Jewel is behind us. set us to chase cam. Alright, locked cam. There's a difference. I actually forget exactly how chase cam operates. I think it's based on your velocity. Okay, I'm gonna say that that's just about it. Relative phase is, I would say, about 11 degrees. I know we're a bit low. This is actually going to be tricky because it is behind us. We would want to elevate our orbit above Joule. Wait. Maybe what's important is that we are actually, like, determining the orbital parameters. Okay, yeah, let's just circularize and check its SMA. Its eccentricity is low, so this should be an easy process. Also, hello. So Joule has a perceived SMA from the polar bungle of about 69 billion. Let's just circularize there. Target is that. Current is, let's see here, 63026 million. There we are. Target velocity is 4396.1, which is in budget. So this will work. If anything, this mission will succeed at giving us better SMA estimations, which will help the future mission. Whether it can help us with our current problem of trying to get a relay station nearby, I don't know. But then again, even just having a relay this far out would be useful. Help give us some control. All right. I'm going for circularization. Doing all right. I've been a little busy this week, and it's been cool because it makes me feel like a real individual doing real things, but it also has shown me the limits of my capability. I'm a little tired in like an emotional way. Okay, we're basically at apoapsis. We can correct it slightly by just burning up a little bit. Target is 4396.1. Wait for our relative velocity to just about hit 0 in terms of vertical. Good, go prograde. Again, target velocity is 4396.1. We're gonna be here a while. Let's be here for a quarter of the time. Man, we are going to be here for a while. That's deep space for you. You're there for a while. So we do this orbit, then we will rotate around the other side. Circularize there, which will not take nearly as long. And then we'll just try and, well, we'll do an orbital measurement to see how the phase changes. Then, like, binary search tree down the actual semi-major. Once we have that, we'll have really good data on Joule. I'll refresh the plan. We're going to Jewel. This mission is designed to get a relay station in orbit of Jewel for a future mission that will have a bunch of drones that will fly to all the moons and get survey measurements. The plan for getting to Jewel right now is to circularize our orbit and get a better measure of exactly what the orbital radius of Jewel is, so that we can better find it in the future. And get a better sense of, like, how to approach it. Target velocity right now is 4396.1. That's about to happen, so excuse me. Now we go to the other side of the orbit, and then circularize there, and then we will use our newfound power to calculate the SMA. We got to see Jewel doing some cool planetary dance stuff. I'm really banking on the SOI of Jewel being so huge that it's easy to capture, and also I'm banking on its relative eccentricity being short. I have a question that I just realized. Elu is... Are Elu and Jewel synchronized? They can't be. We've calculated different SMAs for each of them. Unless the... Okay, there might be some, like, harmonic phase between them. The exact nature of which I don't know. I was trying to think maybe we could, like, use Jewel as, like, a staging ground for Elu calculations. Like, if we knew that the, like, orbital period of Elu is a particular multiple of Jewel's orbital period, use that to calculate the SMA, and then maybe do something jank with the altitudes involved to figure out the eccentricity and do Elu stuff. But that's a far ways away. I was just wondering, like, don't they, like, cross orbits, and isn't that, like, a liability? The answer is maybe. Because I'm thinking in terms of Neptune and Pluto, which also have that kind of jank. People haven't had to really care about this, because they were able to just look at the map, be like, alright, there's Elu's orbit, let's go to it. Also, it's starting to dawn on me just how freaking long it's going to take to do any of these maneuvers. I've been time warping for several minutes, and we're not even halfway there. Oh, goodness. I might have to start caring about launch timings. Encounter phases and stuff. Just for the inconvenience. But this is important. If we get the SMA good, and the eccentricity of Jewel is nil, it means that we could effectively do one and done, like, phase burns. Like, we go up to altitude, we do the phase burn to get it in one orbit capture and then just be captured. That would be real nice. I mean, how are you supposed to be last? I'm last now. Get lastered. Get lacklustered. Lacklustered. Really, really wishing we had like a slightly more, like one more notch of time warp when you're past Dres or something. No, that means that the orbit for checking the phase will be extremely long as well. That's not good. Oh, congratulations on factorializing. I don't know if you've been following the Acela Factorio VOD, but we've made it to space, and I made it to another planet. Not landed on another planet, just like took a ship there. Turns out asteroids are harrowing. They're very deadly, and my only problem is that I kept running out of bullets, and then they would crash into my ship, and then I would have nothing. I disagree with your opinion on streams post live, but okay. I'm getting ready to do the phase experiment. We should be pointing prograde. What am I doing? We gotta circularize first. And I missed it because I was reading chat. Okay, we can fix this. Just go radial out a bit. Okay. Now we point prograde and we check what we doing. Okay. Current altitude is 68753 million. 6, 68753 million. And we want this to be the exact same. Target velocity is 4121.4. You should not ask me what song to play on a piano. I will give you vague, obscure things to video games you have not played before. Okay. Target velocity 4121.4. Okay, I'll give you one that I think might actually like play well on a piano. But also, you are completely at fault for the selection of song I am giving you. Let me just finish this burn first. Okay, we should now be in a circular orbit at 68753. So if I go into free angle, align ourselves up with the jewel point, and then do one full orbit, we should be able to see if Jewel's there or not. And I know Jewel is moving. That might be eccentricity, so we do have to wait the full orbit. But now we just sit there and wait. Okay, now for the song. I'm going to give you Staking Your Life on a Prank from Great Fairy Wars. That's it. That's the song. Not complicated, but it is, I believe, obscure to you. And I think it vaguely fits on a piano. Good luck. Okay, so we can use the nav ball as general percentage marker. We're 20 degrees out of 360 degrees. I can tell you that Jewel has moved down and noticeably slightly to the left. This implies an eccentricity exists. Also, the extreme nature of Jewel's movement means that either the eccentricity is extreme or we really got a bad estimate for the SMA. But I know it's supposed to be like first and second for chat stuff. I'm turning on Excel manually. Well, it was worth a shot. That's reasonable. Status update at about 1/6 rotation. Jewel has definitely gotten lower and to the left. I know we won't get a good sense until about the halfway mark, like whether it starts moving back towards us or something. But it feels like maybe we're a little too low. I have not tried uploading VODs on TikTok. How would I even upload a VOD on TikTok? VODs are like several hours long. I think Acela may have done TikTok stuff. I don't know if it's entire VODs. Look, I just play the video game. That's like my part of the equation. Regardless of our SMA approximations, I'm at least happy we... Wait a minute, if Jewel is behind us, then that would imply that we're actually going faster, which would imply that we're going low. We're too low. Never mind. I double negative myself. We're fine. We're too low, but we're fine. So yeah, a VOD is very specifically a stream recording. The raw, unedited video dump. In terms of regular videos on TikTok, no, I haven't. Acela, I believe, has. That is probably a good idea of something to do. I don't want to be the one to do it, so I'll try and ask one of the other people in to maybe do it. Acela might be okay to do it as part of regular stuff, but the big problem is just getting the clips. Like, acknowledging, evaluate, and be like, that's good enough to be a clip. I don't want to just, like, imagine I'm sitting here silent for 90 seconds. Planets rotating, the slight ambient music in the background. That's not a good clip. And I don't really like to self-appraise myself. It makes me feel like I'll go insane trying to be perfectionist and all. So leave that to other people. And unfortunately, other people are busy. I have played The Binding of Isaac before. I enjoy it. I think it was like my Mother's Day stream one day because there was a mom in it. Though I worry that symbolically I'm putting moms in a bad light by picking that game in particular. Apologies to all the moms out there. But yeah, I like The Binding of Isaac. Yeah, I think I played, like, Hades for Father's Day, so questionable. Actually, it might have been a different Mother's Day I played Hades. That might have been it. I don't know if I've played a game for Father's Day. I don't remember. Well, yeah, I streamed Isaac. It was the Mother's Day stream. Now, when I streamed Isaac, that I'm not so sure. It might have been during the Dark Ages. But I do know I've streamed Isaac. I will consider playing it again. While we're sitting here in orbit, I am going to check if Isaac happened during the Dark Ages. Because I have this sneaking suspicion it did. If you mean, like, afterbirth, antibirth, repentance, then yeah. I don't know if there was, like, extended purchasable DLC out of that, but like I've got like repentance and all that. Okay, I'm looking at the data, and it does seem like I streamed The Binding of Isaac during the Dark Ages. I apologize. And I guess that would be sufficient motivation for me to stream it again in the not Dark Ages. So that's good. I'm okay, so like I know pretty much a lot about Isaac simply because you just sort of know it when being informed of the game and its updates and stuff. So I'm all informed about like all of the individual aspects that happen because I used to watch Northern Lion play The Binding of Isaac very frequently. I would binge his Isaac videos. So I do know all of the stuff up to like the tainted variants of each of the players, Dogma, Super, Mega Satan, or whatever. So like I know the deal. That doesn't really deter me from playing because there's a sort of general completion checklistiness to it. So like, yeah, go ahead. I'm aware of cool hit combos like Death Certificate and all the other wacky stuff that could, because like I was very much wanting to know all the new stuff when Repentance came out. It was like, oh man, there's all this cool new stuff. I want to see that. And so I learned it. Yeah, go ahead. You don't play Isaac for the plot. I mean, there is cool plot stuff going on, but like I know the stuff. I'm aware of the lore. It was a really bad pick for Mother's Day, huh? I just thought there was a mom in it. I thought it was a good idea. Back to the Jewel situation. Jewel is appearing to... Well, it's moved to the right since we've last talked. And it also feels like it's moved back up. So it does seem like there is an eccentricity. There is an inclination. But the SMA itself maybe is not that far off. Given that we're stuck in this orbit for a long time, I don't feel bothered just going into a conversation. It's actually quite helpful just to pass the time. It has been an hour and we've been on one mission, and most of the mission has just been sitting here. We gotta go back to like missions that are fast. We gotta go back to Duna. We gotta do a manned mission to Duna at some point. It's going to be interesting figuring out what I do once we have the survey data of everywhere. We got to make, like, plans to prove our might. Prove that our survey is a good survey. Okay, excellent news for the SMA Extreme Edition. Jewel has risen up to just about the same altitude it was when it left. Which means that we may be in a good spot for the SMA to be not that far off. One of the concerns is that it is still very much to the right. And so maybe the inclination's kind of giving us a sense that off the path a little bit. I do think once a game exists for a long time, a lot of the people who are impulse playing it tend to leave. And then the people that remain are people that have sort of like a general persistent appreciation for the game in like complex and sentimental ways. So I think over time the quality of a community for a game improves. this might just me justifying all of the old games I play, like Empire at War, Kerbal Space Program, technically The Binding of Isaac if we're adding that to the conversation. Other games that I'll think of later. Actually, no, PlanetSide. But like, I think it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If somebody loses the impulse to play it and then leaves, and that happened really quickly, they were probably impulsive to begin with. Like, they're just an impulsive person. And impulsive people statistically are more likely to speak before thinking through the consequences of their actions, you know, due to the impulsiveness. That's an understandable choice. Also, what do you mean lore happened? Oh, no, I'm scared now. Because, like, I've got what people would describe in the VTuber community as lore. I don't know if that's the kind of lore you're talking about. Actually, speaking of lore, my anniversary stream, or at least my anniversary of starting to stream is in like a week. I don't have anything planned for that. Last year I did a whole thing and it was like cool and good. I don't really have anything planned this year. Then again, I'd sort of like binge planned the last year's stream at the last second anyway, but feels weird having absolutely nothing. No plan. Yeah, okay. So some community established contrivances. I see. I get you. I get you. Okay. General warning: we are about 15 degrees away from a 360-degree total of the orbit, and Jool is looking surprisingly above us. I was not expecting that. Well, it stands to be seen how above when we get to 0 degrees, but we are getting there a lot faster than Jool's getting to us. Oh. Okay, this is interesting. Game is paused. It's okay. I'm playing this game in like advanced crazy mode. A normal person playing this game would probably know very little because they don't have to. I have to reinvent the wheel to do this. Okay, so we've done one full rotation. Jool is now slightly above us. Well, above where it was last orbit. Which means, and because it's like everything relative to the skybox right now is moving up because of the way our camera is positioned, that means that Jool has gone farther in one of our orbits than we did. And the only way for that to be possible is if Jool is going faster than us. And if Jool is going faster than us without an engine, it means it is lower than us. We are above Jool right now. You don't need to understand the logic. I'm just showing my work. The conclusion here is that by looking at the dot of where Joule is, I can conclude that we are above it, so we need to lower ourselves. How far do we lower, though? And is it going to take another, like, hour to check? We're at 68753. How about we go down to 68700? Let's officially start doing stuff. So we are currently at 68753 million. So, for each of these, it will be this plus radius of the sun. Forgot some zeros. There we go. Okay, so we know that 68753 is above Joule. We don't know what under Joule is yet, but I'm going to test 68700. So, target orbit, 68700. Target velocity, therefore, is 4120.6. Go retrograde, please. Oh, forgot to stop the time warp. There we go. 4120.6. That's really not much at all, really. Yeah, okay. Alright. We off. Now, this won't take nearly as long. It'll only be a half orbit. Here's something for the piano. How about you play the Tau song if you want to talk about piano and numbers? I don't know the exact name, but it's like the Song of Tau as in the number. It's like they took the number Tau and they made the digits and converted them into musical notes on like a scale, and then they played it. Six. I mean, that's a rough approximation. What the heck? If you're getting like 6.28, that is Tau, but that shouldn't be the number of notes. That's just the number Tau is. I don't know. Look, it's like the credit song to Cairo. How the song with 6.28318 million, that is not the song I'm thinking of. No, no, I didn't intentionally give you a black MIDI to play. That would be absurd. Yeah, no, that's not the song. That is not the song. It's gotta be one of the State of the Towers. Press the button. I really hope I don't miss my orbit. Yeah, no. I did not know. I did not know Tao was also the name of a crazy black MIDI song. All right. I did not try and get you to rush Tao. Yeah, I can't find it. Okay, I found what I was thinking of. Okay, I was thinking of what Tao sounds like. The name of the video. Anyway, back to space for a second. We're in space for a second. Really do be having road trip vibes. On one hand, I'm trying to like avoid boredom. On the other hand, I'm trying to like tactically not miss my exit. It kind of ends up being a side game when you have to wait like 10 minutes between activities. Consequences for missing are severe. Like, if you want to go to Jewel without the map, it is going to be a test of patience. fully acknowledge that you may have a point in terms of when the stream ends, it's not worth it. Because if I was just watching a stream of somebody sitting in space for 2 hours, really slowly in Kerbal Space Program like this, I would probably not be watching live. I would skip ahead to when Jules there. That's what the highlight videos are for. I guess it depends on the type of stream. And I guess part of the problem is that for a stream, there's always going to be a bit of dead air. It's not all action all the time. But the fact that it's live makes it a lot more, like, manageable. You have influence, you have control. You don't know what's going to happen the next moment. And, I don't know, this stuff. I don't really think about the stream aspect of the stream. I just think about the playing the game aspect of the stream. That's the part I'm interested in. Meanwhile, I just want to inform the audience in question that we are basically here. I mean, you don't know that. I don't know the ages of every single community member. Though I do suspect that you are... Yeah. Yeah, fair. Okay, we are a bit lower than I expected, but that's, you know, well within error bounds. 8. I don't know why you needed a number, but there you go. What's wrong with 8? I just gave you a... Oh, okay. I don't know, like 16? I just doubled 8. If I need to guess again, I'm gonna guess 24. I'm just gonna go in intervals of 8 until I get there. I forgot what I'm doing. I remembered what I'm doing. Okay. Nice. Okay. Behold the power of guessing multiples of 8. Alright, so we are at, through no fault of our own, 78694, which is not what we... Wait, what? 68694. And we would like to circularize this. Target velocity is 4123.2, and the moment we lock this in, we're going to do another phase test, which is going to take us another half hour. I really need to prepare some in-flight entertainment. Let's just make sure that the camera is on free. We are there. 4123.2. We're there. Point at Jewel. Check. This would make a lot more sense to you if you could see my cursor, but you can't, so oh well. And warp. Okay. Look, it's only because I'm consistently doing these numbers in meters. If I were doing these in, like, kilometers or something, maybe megameters, then they would just be normal numbers, like 68 versus, like, 70. It's just that, like, I need to care about precision. I need my numbers to be as detailed as possible. So I need to use all the digits. So I stick with meters. It's what the game gives me. I mean, we literally have a rocket here. This is this do be rocket surgery. I'm desperately trying to time warp at max time warp to do even maximum or time warp. Maybe I should have installed a mod that gave me more time warp. I didn't think that far ahead. When I was making the mod list, I wanted like minimum mod support because I didn't want to make the game easier for me with mod. The only mod that's giving me like an advantage over the base game is being able to see the planets at any distance. That's little glints that they have. I just moved the mouse like an idiot. I have bungled this test. Also, why are we sending? Why are we at 68682 now? Okay, that's not important. The purpose is, the point is, we'll just restart it again. It doesn't matter. 68682, that's fine. Okay. We'll just keep going. We'll just keep going. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. What's the time for me right now? Well, obviously I operate out of like United States-based time zones. So if I Alt-Tab and look at the clock on my computer real quick, it tells me what time I should legally be saying it is. Because that's what time it is. It's like synchronized to stuff. It is 11:35 a.m. So just about almost noon. But yeah, it's around midday. It is noonish. Wait, I might have been doing something dumb again. In order to actually like align, I need to stop the time warp and then go to this. Also, what is wrong with our orbit? Why are we descending? Why are we at 679? We should be at 700 flat or like 694. We just keep falling. Anyway, we're aligned prograde. This'll be it. Touch nothing. Acela cannot stream at this time. Acela is busy having, like, a job. Because Acela operates in similar time zones to me. And I don't know if you know this, but people are usually at work in the midday. Yeah, it stinks. Also, Acel is just like an obscenely busy person in general. His booked schedules all across the board. If it's not literal job, it's like doing crazy projects and going to conventions and stuff. Going on like great grand expeditions to get fabric for making cool fancy costumes. They're just like that. Now, the reason we could do this time of stream before was because, well, it was the weekend. And Acela wasn't working that day. And it was all nice and good and stuff. But that was like a rare moment to like combat not having been able to stream that Wednesday or something. It's not really repeatable, and it's even less viable now that the RFC is, well, I mean, I guess it was not viable anyway. But, like, the RFC takes up the entirety of my Saturday, and so that means the only day would be... Yeah, it would be 8 p.m. I think it's, well, for me it's 7, but that's just, you know, it's after the work day, after dinner. There's like this time period between dinner and sleep that is just good for Acela to stream at. And it's been a while since anyone King of the Hill. I'm surprised that there's even any like it still hasn't decayed to 128 yet. A quick update on the motion of Jewel. Jewel is currently up and to the left of the cursor, and I'm trying really hard to not, like, accidentally trip up and move it again, because I was not thinking when I was doing that, but now I'm thinking, so I'm not doing it. That is true. The decay only happens during a time when Excels is active. But Excels is active through the entirety of the Rubicon Fight Club, and that's a 24-hour period. The decay rate I set is that it halves every hour. Unless the decay isn't working properly. And there goes Excels. It is now scrombulated. That means that next time I do KSP, I'm going to have to reinstate the FAE flag. But that's okay. We're kind of in a sad period for Excels because most of my streams have moved over to the Linux side, and there is no Excels on Linux yet. I'm waiting on, like, coordination with Lark to put a sort of, like, web-based Excels on the like dedicated website of things so I can turn it into a browser source and use it anywhere. But that's not ready yet. Because Lark is also busy with having a job and stuff. Like everyone in it's gotta have like jobs and stuff, and here I am doing like, it is my job. It stinks. And, like, I understand that, like, there's a reason that most of my audience, for some reason, tends to be people in, like, Europe, East Europe, etc. And it's because I stream at times where, in American time zones, people would be at work and not watching streams. So I've had to get my fans from elsewhere. Germany, Romania, Poland. Germany again because of Quint. Technically. Not really technically. The whole thing. I by dint of my own scheduling, I am pandering to the European and Asian audiences. Actually, Asia might be too far. Because, like, if I'm imagining it, it's like the exact reverse time zone of my own. And, like, if I'm streaming at noon, that would be like, for Japan, I'm pretty sure that's like midnight. That's like too far. So, like, Europe to like West Europe to East Europe. That's like the ideal time zone. It's the plural. It's not necessarily that, well, yeah. My point exactly. Japan is too far the other direction. Though I do remember when I was playing Armored Core, there was a decent contingent of Japanese players, and I did make like a transient friend out of Antares, who was indeed Japanese Armored Core player who did show up in the chat, so that is true. I don't think so. I mean, maybe they do. I doubt it. I mean, like, yeah, maybe they have their own streaming apps, but I don't think they use them at the, like, exclusion of Twitch or YouTube. I feel like having, like, exclusivity apps or own, like, internal control is more of, like a Chinese thing, because Chinese industries and internet sort of operate in a bit more of a secluded way, the details of which I'm not exactly certain of, because again, it's very secluded. And I'm going off of my own understanding of like video game console redistribution as like a different product. So I'm thinking like, oh, for software that'd be like much easier. Oh yeah, I remember that like Twitch had like a problem providing monetary services or accounts to like a certain country. I don't remember which one. It was either, I think it might have been Korea. How did that go? Was that ever resolved? Twitch just cut services? Like, what happened to all those people? What happened to them? Deep mysteries. I think the thing with the sad music is that it fits. That's what's with it. Like I got like infinite songs on the playlist. I only got like, I don't actually remember, like 20. Part of me wishes I got more, but this was the only collection that I felt really confident fit general purpose for doing space stuff. It felt very spacey to me. There were other albums by the same person I could have included, but didn't. And now I'm too far gone. Like, this is just the very specific KSP mapless soundtrack you're listening to right now. I would check the attribution, but I can't move the cursor right now. And now we're about to get the spooky music, and I'm going to be suffering. Okay, we didn't. Phew. I mean, that spooky music is really good when the situation is spooky, but when it's not, it's just unwelcome. It just adds tension. It's like a VTuber special, like a general feature that you have like some background music playing at all times. I never really got a good grasp on doing that properly. One, I want a song that I can just use that's like mine, and I can't make music. But second, I worry that any song I make of any particular make or use of any particular complexity will get annoying fast. And so it'd have to be something like hyper simple, like, I don't know, one hit of a glockenspiel every like 20 minutes. More just like glockenspiel jump scare. Fun fact, glockenspiel is a very fun word to say. Okay, bit of a Joule update. We are about 75% through our phase checking orbit. Joule is very much down and to the left of us, but it started this whole thing, I think, moving above us. Or at least we were very high into its eccentric climb relative to us. Well, I don't know. Are you going to be available for my stream? Well, actually, no. It's Cella streams that you have a problem, like, being available for. Probably, yeah, sure. I will definitely need moderators. And you can definitely be one of them. Sega also can be one of them, I suppose. Because right now, the only real moderators I have is the rest of Int, and again, they're busy at work. Yeah, that's sort of the thing. It's just sort of like, is there moderators around? If not, sound the alarm, get a moderator in here. Just like to fill the gap in coverage. It's like an air defense system. Like, if there's a place that doesn't have enough missile launchers, put a missile launcher there. Okay, it's looking like Joule is rising. We're looking for Joule to go below the cursor here on its return, though I'm not confident that will be the case. And that means it's really weird, because that means we've been above it twice. To put this in terms of military operations, we are trying to bracket Joule right now. We are trying to get a very consistent, okay, this is in front of Joule, this is behind of Joule, and then we'll do it right in the middle, see if it's still above or below, split in half, split in half, split in half. It's like telling somebody to think of a number between 1 and 100, guessing 50, and if they say it's higher, guessing 75. Like, we're just having it every single time, hopefully. We just want to know the bounds. So we don't have to guess the bounds. Maybe my setup looks in location. I mean, you see my setup in terms of windows. You've got the game right there, and then you've got these. In terms of like the workspaces involved, I've got like one dedicated monitor space for, oh, hold on, Jules doing weird stuff. One for the game and then another. So I guess legally that's like 2 monitors. And then the game's on one of them, and then as much as I can cram into the other is on the other. But I don't have enough space, but I don't want to add more space. But usually it's like I have 1/2 window of OBS, 1/2 window of like the Twitch dashboard. Though for KSP Mapless, instead of the Twitch dashboard, I have the spreadsheet for the numbers. Then as needed, I will swap over to the drawing tab or the Twitch dashboard to do stuff. So really nothing special, it's just the windows are there. Okay, bad news. Jewel is still rising, which means we're still over Jewel, and honestly, I'm getting sick of it. Especially since I can't even tell what our exact semi-major axis is right now. So we're gonna set this to 0, 0, ditch the test. And we're just gonna start doing phase stuff. So let's do phase stuff. Locked camera. Spin. We're just gonna assume this is a good enough phase. Or a good enough semi-major. Because I'm running out of patience. It's been almost 2 hours and I have not gone to Jewel. Okay. Wild. I don't even multi-stream. Acela multi-streams. You should ask Acela. I should ask Acela how the multi-stream works. Because Acela really wants me to do it. I don't know. Take some of the coolant out of the refrigerator and give me that. Like put it on the CPU. 15% brought to you by, okay, so 15%. We got to do phase stuff. Let's phase it. So we're currently at 68679 million. Pitch down is 15. We want 1 orbit phase, and it is going... It's behind us, so we want to slow down. So we want a targeted apoapsis of apparently 76 billion. And, hold on, this is... Oh, no, hold on. I almost did this bad. We want to put in it here to get the correct radius here. Paste that in, and then we want a targetable radius of that. Okay. Flight adjustment fixed. So our target radius is going to be that. Target velocity is 4228.8. Prograde. 4228.8, and then we should do one orbit, and then we will be at Joule, I hope. If not, we'll at least be closer. Oh wait, we are at 68679. I'm going to quickly adjust that number to reflect the reality of the situation. 4229.4 is our actual target. Or 229.4. Okay, here's the moment of truth. If I've done everything good, we should be going to Joule here, assuming it's close enough. And I'm hoping it is. Here we go. So one orbit should take us there. If you're wondering about Joule's position, it's right there. This will be the longest orbit we've done, but in the interest of getting there, it might be the last one we do. I hope. Okay, like, Joule, getting to Joule is simple. Its eccentricity is not that big, its inclination is not that big, and it's a big target, but man, does it take forever. I'm eating a nice hearty helping of humble pie is what I'm eating this forever. Also, isn't like diner or dinner table eating like the time to talk is when like everybody gathers together and talks about how their day went? That's like the time to talk. Nobody's gonna sit at a grand table together to not talk. That's the point of having it be one big table. And good attention to the progress bar. We are at 35, okay, almost 35 degrees rotation. Because this is an inclined orbit, not inclined, eccentric, the rate at which we're rotating relative to the sun is going to be inconsistent, but the eccentricity is so low that it probably doesn't matter. And in terms of fuel, we have a lot. 3,000 to work with. We're already circularized. We should be fine once we get there. And that's really good news for the eventual missions there. It means we can just slap some ships to the side instead of all these antennas and pretty much go to town. In fact, I think we might have enough fuel to, like, do the survey of Joule with this ship. I usually wake up about... Well, it depends. I've been waking up earlier recently now that I have responsibilities and feel like I need to, like, lock in. But I would say that there's, like, a solid... at minimum 2 to 3 hours between me waking up and a stream. Like, I usually try and keep that buffer so I can just, like, mentally prepare myself. So it's inconsistent. It really is inconsistent. I'm not actually very good at sleeping. 'Cause a difficult task. It's a skill issue. We are approaching. Okay, look. I'm not the most mentally constituent individual, assuming that was an actual real English word. It's tough because okay, yeah, it is tough. Like, you want to make sure you're in a good place when you do a stream, otherwise it's just going to be like a train wreck. And so there's a challenge. You have to like sort of sit there and be like, what am I willing to put up with today? Orbit update, we are about 25% of the way there. Exact amount, I would say, is about... Oh, okay, 110% is about to be this 70-degree mark. When we get to 60, that'll be 2/3 of the way. No, that's wrong. That is not wrong. That is wrong. That would be 150. What? No, I'm doing absolutely nonsensical calculations here. This would be 120 degrees, which is the 1/3 mark. We are 1/3 of the way there. Another win for geometry. I don't understand why that would be the case. Like, it's the same music, it's in the same album as everything else. I think this one's just louder because it actually has some, like, oomph to it. Really help him to break up the monotony. I guess I can, like, legally rotate the camera. I'm not doing a phase test right now. Can't believe we've accidentally integrated the switchyard with the nuclear stage and it just became this. It just occurred to me that like the wires here are crossed a bit. I guess it's sort of like triangle crossbar support, but like if you think about it too much, it starts to seem weird. Orbit progress update. We are currently at just about 200 degrees rotation, which means we've passed the halfway point by a little bit. And there's the spooky music. I was wondering when it would show up. I've lost target. Where's Jewel? Where is Jewel? Jewel... There it is. Hi, I'm very much not busy right now. I'm the opposite of busy. But I am getting distracted and zoning out. Also, what? Oh, I see your previous question. I'm not answering. Correct. Okay, I mean, makes sense that if we're past the halfway point, we're past apoapsis, because we started at periapsis. Oh, I'm looking, and I can actually very decidedly see Paul, like, jutting out from the glint of Jewel, which means we're definitely getting closer, which is what we were trying to do to begin with, so that's good. Okay, the question is, how good is this gonna be? How close are we gonna get? And have we gone too far? Given that we've been consistently above Jules SOI, I think, not Jules SOI, Jules SMA, I suspect that if we miss, Jewel will end up in front of us. And we will have to lower ourselves somehow. But like, oh, like the glint of Paul is very much separating from the glint of Jewel now. Interesting that it like goes black for a second. I wonder what that is. It's very consistent too. I'm going to use Paul. I don't think this is true, but I am going to use Paul as sort of like an approximation of Jules SOI right now. Don't know how close we actually have to. Oh. Hold on. I think we're getting close enough to Jewel that the glint is being removed. Okay, I'm seeing multiple different celestial objects. I'm gonna have to check the definition of physiology in a second. Hold on. Okay, we're getting there. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, you it's fine. You keep trying. I'm gonna try to not freak out here. All of the individual moons of Jewel are moving very erratically. I mean, they were doing that already, but now we can see them. We've got a lot more to go. If we get to a point where Joule is eclipsing the sun, I'll feel as if we've missed it. But until that happens, we are in good form. I'm surprised I can see the glint for all of those, because they seem to be in like that like resonance that the inner moons have, and yet I still can't see Joule. Though it might be that I can see Joule, it's just in shadow. Because we're coming at it from above, relative to the sun being down. So maybe if we were below it, we could see Joule right now. There's a rich guy laugh. I was not aware that I lack in rich. I'm very much not that. Okay, come on, come on. Where the heck is Joule? Current speed is 1450 going straight down. I mean, I know money talks, but does money laugh? I'm suddenly worried about our inclination. It's so close. It's so close. We can very consistently see Tylo, Val, Lath, but I can't see Joule yet. We're running out of time. Do I see it? Is that, am I imagining that little hint of green? I might be imagining that little hint of green. I don't think I'm imagining that little hint of green. It's the slowest moving thing of all of the objects. I think I can see the surface of Joule. But we're running out of time. It is 6, 8, 7 lower. Where it's not. It hasn't happened? Sorry, I know you're saying things. This is too important. I can't miss this. Okay. We're out of time. We've reached periapsis. But it's still there. But it's so close. It's up and to the right. If we circularize now, where are we? 68679. Billion. 4123.7. We know this is too low. We've already determined this is too low. So if we go and stop here, it should catch up to us. Heck, with the distances involved, it might be worth it just to like point towards it and burn. But I'm a little nervous to do that. RCS for the win. I'm just watching the moon spin. Well, we're getting blackouts. Some sort of like crazy eclipse happening? Maybe, I can't tell. It hurts to be this close. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do a manual Fane's alignment. I'm gonna put 1 degree in. And we're just gonna see if it's good enough. 4131.2. I don't know how you make that judgment call about me. I don't know what makes someone good to hang out with at like particular times of day, but thank you, I think. Degree phase difference. Let's see if this works. My hope is that this will slow us down. I say, accelerating away from Joule. But that's just how orbits work. Bigger the circle, longer it takes to encircle. And faster you go in orbit, the bigger the circle. That's just the math. I know we're going to end up going further away before we get closer, but kind of necessary. It's a matter of time. I just need to be patient. Also, what the heck? Did you just say something in chat, but my chat isn't showing your chat in chat? What the heck? There we go. Okay, now I see it. That was weird. I don't know if it would specifically be the glowiness of stars, and I'm only doing like raw math right now because it's required to do space stuff. I think I would probably like ask this really obscure, like niche question that nobody thinks of. Like, I don't know. like, I can't think of one on the spot, but like, back when measurements were done by non-scientific means, the difficulty of making a coherent map with all the relative distances, like, is like, just go like 30,000 paces north-northeast to get to the town of Oengelberg. And then Oengelberg's like, actually, it's like only like 25,000 paces. Like, that must have been tough. Measuring long distances like that, just by walking. No consistent landmarks, just ground. So you may be displeased to notice that we are now further away from Jewel than we were at the start of this maneuver. That's okay, though. It's kind of unnecessary. But it's fine. We're lobbing the ship up and over. And then the time it takes for the lob to happen, Jewel will be moving in a straight line. So this constitutes a slowing down. So we will be back closer, hopefully. My actual concern is that maybe we've gone too far. And that Jewel will, like, bounce up under us and over. But if that happens, it's a matter of time. Because we know 1 degree backwards was too much, we'll do half a degree forward, and then we'll just, like, Zeno's paradox it in. So the fact that Jewel is sitting relatively stable where it is, for the most part, is a good sign. It means we're not supremely off base. It is pretty convenient. But it's like a weird thing where you don't need to, but also you are less capable of doing so. Well, given the severe lack of any other country nearby, just due to the sheer volume of the size of America, you don't need to learn another language to function at any distance. Like, you can imagine in Europe, if you needed to, like, take a train an hour north, you'd go to a different country. In America, you could travel for several hours in one direction and still be in America. So, like, as a life survival skill, you don't need to know other languages. So you end up not learning other languages and not learn how to learn other languages. So a lot of people in America are just stuck speaking English. Yeah. Just sheer volume is going to be a lot of English just because, I mean, it's where the internet was invented. They've kind of got, like, monopoly on the whole thing. Yeah. Okay, good news, bad news. Good news is that we've reached about the halfway point of our 1 degree phase correction burn. And Jewel is now getting closer to us. The bad news is I'm a little worried that this is happening too soon. Which means we may have overshot. I'm glad I started the stream 2 hours early. We're going to be using that extra time. I mean, I guess this is not the most entertaining media it could possibly be provided, but oh well. It's at least chill. You kind of have to make your own fun in space. And I've got pretty decent experience at doing that. Mostly by myself, though. I just I just gotta fill time. Now I gotta fill time with other people. And that's a slightly different skill. You had plans? I'm sitting in a radio can. Typically accurate representation of the Twitch servers. Be not bored. We broadcast your broadcast to all corners of the solar system. What? The moment I make a joke about like the complete emptiness of space and the lack of anybody around, people just show up. Who the heck? Hello and welcome. Let me give a brief synopsis of what's going on. We're playing Kerbal Space Program, but I modded out the map view and I've had to do all of the orbital math myself. That's it on the bottom left. I am approaching Jewel, hoping to enter the SOI for the very first time with a relay satellite to make future missions capable of being controlled remotely. You know, by like satellite control. Also, hi. We're in a stressful point where Jewel's right there, but like we don't have the exact phase correctly. The semi-major axis is a bit vague, and I'm doing a little bit of a phase correction burn, and I'm right in the middle of worrying that I've overcorrected. That's the current situation. Seems like the thing that might actually destroy us is the inclination. Yeah, we're definitely at an angle to Jewel right now, and our orbit has not yet lowered. We're about 2/3 of the way through the orbit, and fortunately, it seems that Jewel is still behind the sun. That means that we haven't overshot it by much. Yeah, it would take you a while to get back into those circumstances. We've got a long history of doing math to figure out these numbers, and it's brought us all the way to Jewel, hopefully. You can see the individual moons glinting in the dark. They're all circular and stuff. They're making circular orbits. We've got to be close to the SOI. We've gotta... Whoa, 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 whoa! We're here! We're here! We're here! We're here! We're here! We're here! We made it! Oh, okay, we made it! Oh, I wasn't expecting it so soon. Okay, we gotta get some numbers. What is our altitude right now? I am putting that in as the SOI. You rated at the perfect time. Okay. Current altitude is 2449 million. That is going to be our SOI. 2449 million. That SOI is huge, by the way. And because an SOI doesn't really matter all that much, and the orbit's so big and far that it won't vary, I'll give that a solid yellow. Okay, it is go time. Our excess velocity is 275.3 meters per second, but we are at such a high altitude. We got to get lower. Given our forward vector, let me just let's go to auto camera right now. There we go. Wait, I don't know where I am. Where's... Okay, it's up there. Gotcha. Okay. Panic. We're gonna want something retrograde, obviously. Given... I'm just gonna use it. Okay, so it seems that we're in a pretty high orbit. That's hard to gauge. We don't know the SGP of Joule yet, so I worry about going so close that we collide or hit one of the moons. But if we're facing that way on this orbit and still falling in, we are very high up. I'm gonna try and lower this best I can. Hey, Thega. Everyone's just showed up all of a sudden. Burning. Radial up. Okay, let's lower our velocity to, let's say, 100 meters per second and just see how it behaves. From there, we'll try and correct. Three, two, 1, 0. It's a pretty high orbit, but Joule is also pretty big, so I'm hoping those will, like, cancel out. Good here? I think we're good here. Wait, what the heck? You... CSS Postal, I just noticed you rated into my stream, but your stream is still going. Why is this? I mean, that's a separate answer to a question. But also, good to know. Okay, we have plenty of fuel to burn. Nice one. Okay, we got plenty of fuel to burn. We got 3.5 kilometers per second to work with. And all we need to do is get into a reasonably low orbit so we can start timing our orbit and figure out the the standard gravitational parameter of Joule. Where is Joule right now? I'm going into free cam so that Joule is just down. There we go. Okay, get ready. We are dropping exponentially, and we just have to make sure, because we're driving blind right now, and have to wait until Like either periapsis or panic. Whichever comes first. Though, if we're in a polar orbit, that's good for our relay satellite. So this is, like, functionally a good thing. Hard to tell. I'm a little nervous. Aside from Elu, this is the last stop. Also, what do you mean by a carrier, Thig? I don't know all the Counter-Strike terms. Okay, I'm starting to get a little worried. We are dropping real fast. I can see Joule, though. I can see, like, its physical circle. Oh, career. I didn't play much after we played yesterday. I got a few opinions on Counter-Strike. I like deathmatch. It's fun and slapstick, but in the context of like that 5v5 mode, the tension, the fact that you go in with a plan and it just gets like dismantled immediately is kind of frustrating. It's more stressful than I expected. So I'm still working on that. Okay, so good news. We can see Joule. Also good news. Our descent, I think, is slowing down. Hard to tell, but it looks like our radial is descending towards, you know, polar. Free cam is... Oh, look at that view. Oh, it's beautiful. Also, I'm beginning to realize that actually we do not have enough fuel for all of these hijinks. Also, I am worried that we are in, like, the range of planetary stuff. I kind of forgot how massive Joule is. Well, let's go to orbital cam for a second. Well, just auto cam, which is orbital cam right now. Oh, look at that shadow of, I have to assume that's Lathe on the Joule surface. Beautiful. Oh, hello, Tylo. Okay, we may have accidentally lowered our orbit to about Tylo level. This may prove to create difficulties. In fact, we may actually encounter Tylo and our orbit will be completely obliterated. That said, this hilariously gives us a reasonable approximation. Oh my goodness, we're about to encounter Tylo. Yeah, okay. We're in Tylo orbit right now. Okay. What do we do about this? All right, there appears to be some confusion in the chat. Allow me to explain. I have just gotten to Joule, the big gas giant in the background, and in trying to lower my orbit in order to get a capture, I have accidentally encountered hit planet Tylo. Not hit planet, hit moon Tylo. This is actually a little bit of an inconvenience. We're not, but it is a trouble. That said, we can do stuff immediately. Like, accidentally, we can do more, like, bookkeeping off of this. Like, we now know that Tylo's SOI is just about 1 million. Sorry, 10 million. Put that as, like, an orange, just because I really don't know. We also know that it's, like, radius is approximate... Not radius. Semi-major axis is approximately... like 700,000, or whatever our altitude was at the time. So I'm just going to put in, like, 700,000... but in, like, really, really red. Like, the most red we've ever redded. It's the readiest. Now, what we do now is an interesting question. We have enough fuel to stop at Val. Sorry, Tylo. Actually, is this Tylo or is this Val? That's Val over there. This is Tylo. We could stop here and get the data for Tylo, but I think it would be better serviced just to let us fly by, do more orbit stuff, and then come back. So we'll let Tylo do this. Awkwardly. And yeah, the SOI is like almost perfectly 10 million, huh? Okay, we go out. Apparently it's a little high. Okay. We're out. We're at like 670. Oh, no, that's not 670. That's 67. Radius is not 700,000. It's 70. Am I reading that right? Oh, no. Wait, no. Hold on. 670000. It's 67 million. Wild. Okay, now I think I got the number good. And I'll upgrade that to a normal red, now that we've just got a second number to deal with. Okay, proceeding. Okay, our current velocity is like 27 million. We are still descending. Let's figure out where our true periapsis is. Lower it a little bit and just see the numbers. Joule is so heavy, we have good odds of getting a 4-digit number velocity for our survey orbit, which I very much want. But we will need to raise our periapsis because this is way too low. It's way too dangerous. Let's go. I'm thinking about it. The best survey orbit is something really low, because then we get like accurate digits. The thing we're trying to calculate right now is the radius of Joule. We do this by going into a particular orbit, figuring out our velocity and altitude at Apple and Perry, and that's enough information to get us a calculation for the radius. Then with that same orbit, we do a bunch of orbits and count how long it takes, and that gives us the standard gravitational parameter, which is all we need to figure out like an orbit calculator, a delta V calculator and stuff. We already have 4-digit speed. If we get any closer, I'm afraid we won't be able to slow down. Now we can zero our velocity and fall straight down with the amount of speed we have. I'm just worried. Let's do this slow and carefully. I'm going to start by lowering our velocity to 2,000 and some hundred number. How about 2,300? Actually, no, I'm too scared. I'm going to go for 2,500. Now that we're in Joule SOI, we don't need to worry about waiting several hours. The 2,500, dead. Time warp. We are still rising, which is good. Question is, how much rising are we doing? We could almost set up a Joule polar bungle if we wanted. Now, our goal is to keep it... I mean, if we're going into the thousands, then we want to keep it under 1 billion. We want to keep our velocity at the highest point above 1,000. Are we good? Okay. We can do multiple surveys. We bled off about 200 meters per second delta V to get here. Here's my plan. We up our velocity here to 1,000 meters per second. Being an apoapsis, this will be the slowest we possibly go. And it will raise our orbit on the other side to maybe dodge Tylo. Which is good, in case you were wondering. We want as minimum interference for our data collection orbits as possible. Also, I should probably be doing science right now. Like, magnetometer. Gravioli. I wonder how low we have to get to do non-high orbit Joule science. Well, a mystery we will learn soon enough. Where's Joule? I lost it. There it is. Okay. Accelerate to 1,000 meters per second or higher. We're doing this so that we get the most significant digits in our eventual answer. Nominally, I would like to go so far low to Joule's surface that we get the individual meters on our altitude, but I don't know if we got the fuel for that, so I'm making a sacrifice here. There we go. 1,000.6. Now let's go to periapsis and see if this is good enough. Good, I mean safe. Going to free camp so that Joule is always below us. Initial orbit is looking good. I'm ignoring whatever number you just gave me. That is legally spoilers. We don't need it anymore. I just want to make sure that we're not hitting any of the moons. Like, here comes Tylo. But I think we're safely beyond Tylo. And I'm not so worried about Bop and Paul. The odds of us hitting those are, like, slim to none. They're just really small. Okay. For an initial radius survey, this is good enough. So this will be the orbit we use. Okay. Radius survey time. Let's see here. Radius survey. This is going to be Joule. I gotta make some new columns soon. This is going to be Joule take 1. We are... Oh, let's run this by the book. Let's start with apoapsis. We are going to wait until the number of the apoapsis stops decreasing. I'm going to try and make sure I don't miss it with the time warp. This is where precision matters. $198,488. We are going to see if that goes to a 9 or a 7. $198,488. I don't see it moving. And I'm like very okay, we're definitely descending now. Just the radar altimeter is telling us that. Okay. Sorry if you couldn't see that, but I'm saying this is our apo. So, apoapsis altitude was 198,488 thousand. Double checking, yes. Our altitude error is unfortunately 500 due to just how high up we are. Our velocity was 1000.6 with an error of 0.05. Significant figures is to be determined, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 5. Now, we go periapsis. You know just about where to look. We just need to not miss it accidentally like a fool. And I can totally miss it accidentally as a fool. We'll just go around another orbit if that's the case. But the more orbits we do, the more likely a random moon will slap us. Even with just these rough estimates, we can make an orbit calculator and then do an orbit around lower Joule if we have the fuel. Oh, here it comes. Radar altimeter is rising. Time warp is at 100. It's crazy the scales we have to work with dealing with Joule. 3, 2, 1. Like I'm at time warp 100 and this number is moving slowly. Okay, velocity is 1761.1. We are at 110183. 3184. So the lowest we hit was 110184, 183. 110184. 1000. Error is unfortunately 500 still. Velocity was 1761.1 with an error of 0.05 as always. And our significant figures is going to be, well, it's going to be 5 because our velocity was a 4-digit number at both locations and our altitudes were like 6-digit numbers, so we're good. So 5. This gives us a calculated radius for Joule of 5,998,800 meters with an error of 22,900. I am personally convinced just how perfect this number is, that it is possibly exactly 6 million. But even this alone is good enough. I'm going to put in a 6 million, but I'm going to put it in like yellow. That's 60 million, self. There you go. Let's say a very unconfident 6 million, and then we can do another one even lower down. So from here, we can now do the SGP calculation. Let's find a nice point to check the clock. Given our orbit, our highest point was in the 19 millions. Sorry, the 190 millions. Wait. Yeah, 190 millions. Okay. Sorry, just have to check the number of digits there. So if we make our timer, like our milestone for this, when we hit 19 on the altimeter. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think this will work. Okay. Because we're still going up with considerable speed. So we don't have to wait too long to get it exact. Okay, let's mark these times. Let's go to our mu determiner and punch in these numbers. So, our start time is, and we're going to have to use universal time for this, year 413 AE, day 128, 413 A 21. We got 413 in there twice. That's hilarious. Okay, and per the general system, I will do 10 orbits. Let's begin. One. Two. Three. Four. Five. Six. Seven. 8. 9. Now I gotta focus. 'Line this up as best as we can. Okay, we have our orbit. Now we mark the time. It is right now. It is 41454. Time of midnight, 22 minutes, 12 seconds. Okay, now all we need is to put in the stuff. In accordance with the radius survey, we shall put in our apoapsis, which was this. Shall put in our periapsis, which was this. Need more space for big number. The planet radius is, we're saying 60 million. Just to confirm that that is the correct number of digits. It is. And 60 million is actually the number. I didn't just make that up. I did make that up. It's 6 million. Okay. Right, that may, if it was a radius of 60 million, that would be absurd. It is 6 million. Okay. It is calculating a semi-major axis of 16, which is within bounds. It would be weird if it were outside of these numbers, but it is inside those numbers, plus that's 6 million, so it makes sense. That means that we can be pretty confident that we've got the numbers in good, and that our standard gravitational parameter is this big number. Let's put it in the joule slot. And then add room for it to be bigger. Okay, now it's just being... You're gonna just format that as a number, please? Don't put it in scientific notation. Put it in number notation, and then remove the digits, please. There we go. So that is our calculated SGP for Joule. And we're not confident in it because we're not confident in the... Well, we are pretty confident in the radius, so let's make it yellow. And with that in, the rest of the calculations should already be ready. We should have an orbit calculator for Joule now. And that's good. So now we have a choice. Do we just put this in a big old parking orbit for regular radiological, like, relay stuff? Or do we try and go deeper and get more science? I would like to get deeper and get more science, if only as a test of this system and the fuel requirements involved. Let's go to the radius survey. Let's go to the calculator here. So now the Joule calculator should work. And my goodness, what a number it's giving. At an altitude of 0 and 0... Okay, I'm starting to think maybe we don't have the fuel for this. But that's fine. All we have to do is get under 1 million. So let's say 900,000. Well, okay, let's say our target is 900,000. From our current... Well, let's go to Apoapsis first. I'm juggling a lot. We suddenly have much business to do. Kind of weird I'll accidentally hit, like, lathe. At least the calculator is real now. We can use it for stuff. Okay. Pause. Well, we knew our velocity was 1006. 198488, we knew that. I should have just put it in. 198488,000. Target velocity is 300, so we'd have to burn 700 here. 700. So I'm actually going to do a little bit of extra numerical work here. So burn 1 is going to be 700. I'm actually going to do some delta V calculation here. So if this is going to be our target velocity going up, then reversing this would be our target velocity going down. So if we wanted to go to 198,488,000 at 900,000, forgot a 0 on that. Then our velocity at periapsis would be 8,900? Okay, that ain't good. And then if I went from that to 900,000, that would be like 2,000. Well, actually, I'll just type in the numbers here. 8900.4 versus 900,000, 639.8.8. Subtract that by that, and we have a burn of 2501, and that plus that would equal a delta V requirement of 3,201 meters per second, of which we only have 3,077. This is not a go. That's unfortunate. We are 200 meters per second short. Granted, this is not without value. If we do a flyby, we can at least get low orbit science with the altimeter and gravioli. So if we just, like, temporarily lower our speed to 300 anyway, then come back up here and re-elevate it, we'll be in a nice large polar orbit that we can use for just controlling the probes we send here afterwards. I think this is going to have to be our compromise. I just really hope we don't hit Lathe or something. It's a real risk. Okay, let's drop. While I'm here, let's make sure that we do the normal science that we can just do by being a proud member of society. Yeah, the classics, like trying to measure the temperature in space. And the pressure. Good. That's all our high altitude shoots. Oh, we should have done stuff while we were at Tylo. I feel like a fool. Oh well. Frankly, it's not like we need it anymore. We almost unlocked the full tech tree off of this. Let's just descend slowly. Wait for our opportunity. We could even use this as a polar bungle if we wanted to try and calculate the orbits of the other moons. And more importantly, we are going deep. We are going deep in. We're not impacting, but we are deep. Oh man, it's beautiful. That's not our shadow, is it? No, it's probably like. Okay, it's Tylo clipping through the plane of the atmosphere. The shader's doing a jank, that's okay. Okay, meanwhile, let's see how the science is looking. Gravity. Okay, we are now near Joule. And it's just near Joule. Okay, sanity check. We don't get new pressure data. No, we do get some near Joule. Transmit that. Temperature. Good. Magnetometer. Run that. Magnify. Yeah, I wish it gave me a bit more of a description. Still, though, that's real good science. I'm kind of feeling the sadness of not being able to actually do my lower orbit research expedition. Like an almost circular, really low altitude. What if this is a terrible idea? I could aero brake on Joule. Yeah, okay, yeah. The scary music is appropriate for this. This is a terrible plan. You know what? I'm convinced myself I'm not doing it. No. Attempting an aero brake without a solid understanding of the atmospheric conditions, that's going to be obscene. It'd also probably destroy my antennas, and this whole mission would be for, well, I mean, it wasn't for nothing. We got the astrometric data, but we would lose the relay. It would add at least one extra mission to the number of missions we would have to miss. What just happened? Tylo, what have you done? I'll tell you what you've done. Giving me an opportunity to get more science. Quick! Run the magnetometer! Give me gravioli! Lower gravity than anticipated. Interesting. Transmit that, transmit that. Okay. Accidental Tylo flyby notwithstanding. Where the heck is it? We're not on a collision course or anything, right? Where the heck? Oh, did we already leave? Wait, hold on. Go to orbital cam and then point down. Or up? Oh, there's Tylo. And it was free cam I wanted. Okay, we're not on a collision course with Tylo, and I don't even know if this will, like, affect the gravity all that much. We're gonna have plenty of Delta V to circularize, whatever our new orbit is. So we'll just circularize at whatever our new orbit is. And then we'll have our relay station. Seems like it kicked our orbit up a bit. Oh man, I had a terrible idea. What if it kicked our orbit up? What if it changed our, like, our radial data? Like, what if our periapsis is lower now? This is, I'm dancing with disaster here. Okay, so let's say 207721 is our target. And this is going to be a way for me to calculate our velocity at periapsis right now. It's 8906. Oh no, this isn't what I want. We want 207,721,000 here because we want to figure out what our new periapsis is. Because our velocity is now 277.1. So if I go to 900,000 to 87, and what if I just keep lowering this number? It should eventually reach what velocity we're at right now. And that'll tell us what our periapsis is. I've never used this trick before. 277.1, 207,721,000, that's all good. So we want to look for when this is 277.1. Let's try 0. Okay, it's not 0. 100,000. Not quite. 200,000. 300,000. 400,000. Ooh, that's close. 277.3. So maybe 38,000. Too low. 39,000. $395. Okay, interesting. So according to this, our new periapsis is 395,000 meters. Just about. So what if we do the calculation below again? How much delta V do we need to get this under 900,000? So assuming 395,000 as our target. This will get us our velocity at periapsis, 207,721,000. Our velocity at periapsis would be 9262.2. And if we wanted to lower that to 900,000, it would be 6771.7. Required delta V, therefore, I'll destroy that, would be 2490. We have 2378. Okay, what if it's like 999? $6794.9. $2467. We have 2378. We can't make it. No matter what we do, we're going to be going past the million barrier. And if we're going past the million barrier, then the like delta V or like the significant figure improvement does not matter. This is not good enough. What if we purge the RCS thrusters? What if we use that? How much delta V we getting in the monoprop? Probably not 100. We're like 60 delta V off. Hi, Lark. Yeah, there's math here. I'm trying so hard to justify doing like a low orbit thing, but it's just not gonna work. So let's just circularize like this. Forgot that this is going to be in thousands, please. Okay, target velocity is 1149.7. We are going to circular orbit. We are declaring this mission's objectives locked in. We will take our orbit. We will take our relay. We will take our measurements. We will take better measurements at some future point. Prepare in 3, 2, 1, go. Target velocity is 1149.7, and then the mission is complete. We've accomplished our goals to a reasonable degree, and I'm fairly proud of the result. We've even learned how to do a little bit of delta V calculation. We figured out how to turn the apoapsis periapsis Hoffman calculator into a delta V budget maker. That's a good skill to have, and it's going to be an even more important skill now that we're working on the upper edges of what our ships can do. We're going to need to make scheduled missions with particular burn plans and budgets that determine mission success or failure. It's very interesting. And frankly, I'm not the best ship designer. My ships are very simple. They're just cylinders with big tanks and stuff. So if I'm going to have to, like, eke out more delta V, that's going to be an interesting challenge. Gonna have to get better at gonna have to get better at building. Target velocity is still 1149.7. That hasn't changed. Physics hasn't adjusted. My numbers haven't adjusted. 1149.7. Okay, we should now be in a vaguely circular orbit. Variations may exist due to the inaccuracy of our measurements, but I think for the most part we're fine. The important thing is that we're not at risk of hitting any of the moons. And if I look, actually we might be at risk of hitting Bop and Paul. Oh, it looks like we're... Uh-oh. Okay, it's hard to tell. We might be in the ballpark of Paul's orbit, which is a little worrying. We should really do some polar bungle stuff here. Now, if it's truly circular, we should be in threat of hitting Paul on the other side as well. Okay, it seems that Bob and Paul are orbiting faster than us, maybe. And that means that we're safely above their orbit, I think. Cannot tell for certain, but it's good enough work. We now have a radar in orbit of Jool. So I'm going to rename this vessel. This is technically an AWACS class, but, you know, it's doing the job of a shipyard. Switch yard. Okay. There is now an orbit of Jool that is permanently ours, unless we decide to move it arbitrarily. That is a win. Only took us 3.5 hours. I don't want to do another Jool mission, but I am willing to, like, just for the perspective of, like, scientific measurement, I'm going to do the polar bungle thing. I'm not even really interested in, like, measuring the numbers right now. I'm just recording them for posterity. By doing this, we should be able to get the orbital periods of the individual bodies by cross-referencing when they appear to, you know, the stream footage. Oh, here comes the flip. There's the flip. That'll give us reasonable estimates for their orbital period and therefore their semi-major axis. Then we can start making opinions. Now, this is by no means perfect, but it should give us the idea. Of most interest is Lathan and Val. They seem to be the ones best behaved. Okay, that was about the best possible Tylo option. There was no inversions that happened there. I think that's the best we're going to get from this method. I'll crunch the numbers later. Or maybe you can crunch the numbers, I don't know. Numbers in the corner, you can just run them. Mostly I just need to know the period of the orbits. That'll be enough. But yeah. I think I'm good there. I know it's only been 3.5 hours, and that's like short for a KSP stream, but if I attempt to do anything else, we'll be here for a long time. Congratulations for getting in touch with somebody you haven't spoken with in 9 months. That's the real moral lesson here. Interaction, connection with people. I don't know. I'm a little delirious because this was like a whole thing. But we did it. We made it to Jewel. We jeweled. It was not that hard. It was just really tedious. And then we got here, and then we realized we have no fuel. So I guess I really need to lock in and learn how to make a better interplanetary rocket. So we'll see. We will see. Thank you for the people who randomly showed up. That was nice. I was happy to see. I'm happy to see that. I am going to call it good here. I'm declaring victory. Wait, hold on. I need to get like cool. Well, I guess I could take a shot from when we were close to the jewel. Okay, you know, that's fine. That we'll have thumbs up. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm ending the stream. I'm Exception. This is In TV. Have a good day and good night.